To the fans, followers of DAsportsVYBZ. We're here with yet another great sportsman of Dominica. We have Mr. Terry Bertrand, two sports, football and basketball, and he's going to give us in his own words, his experience from playing sports in Dominica, from growing up all the way to right now to the national team. We're going to take us gradually through the process of his experience.
Yes, first of all, we just want to big up Susie and Oyo. Oyo's by Newtown, Victoria Street. Thank you, Oyo, for the kind support. And if anybody around this area, please support Oyo. One-stop shop, bar, everything. Big up to Oyo.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Bertrand, just take us through your youth, starting your in the sports,
Well, I left Dominica at an early age. I left Dominica at the age of 13. I didn't play too much sports in Dominica in a competitive level when I first left. When I migrated to Canada, to Toronto, and I grew I went from about 5'1" to about 6'1" in one summer. So then I picked up basketball. My lifestyle in Dominica kind of prepared me for sports in Canada. I had a lot of coordination, I had a lot of agility, and that was rare, especially for someone with my height.
What's the cause of that what attributed to that?
Well, just my lifestyle, just growing up in Dominica, being able to climb a tree, being able to catch, being able to be the fastest one on the block, being able to hold your breath underwater. Everything was a competition growing up. But it was not just that alone. Growing up in Goodwill, I had a lot of people to look up to. Mind you, I never knew there was a sport of basketball in Dominica before I left in '76. But I knew a lot of great athletes. My brothers, peers, and guys that were older than me that we used to always want to try to be like them.
Athletes like who? The names, some of the names.
Like the Lawrences, my older brother Trevor, Jeffrey Defoe, just guys around the neighborhood that, I just used to look up to because most of them played on the national football teams and stuff like that. When I was in Canada, I picked up basketball. I became really good at it. I was a Toronto All-Star high school basketball player every year that I played basketball in Toronto. My claim to fame for basketball in Toronto is that, I don't know if you remember that, but when Michael Jordan won the NBA championship, he had a center by the name of Bill Wellington.
Yeah.
That used to play on that. I played against him in high school when their high school team came to Toronto. I dunked on him. That was my claim to fame. Football, soccer was always in me. When I left Dominica, I used to play a lot of football on the Savannah, more barefoot, and we used to play on the
right there.
Yeah, on the Goodwill Savannah there. But also we used to play on our street. And we never really had grass on our street. We used to play it was two roads, one on either side, and that kind of really taught us how to kick properly. And I don't know if, I don't see that too often, but growing up, we had a thing we call tactics, and that was big in Goodwill. You had to be able to do tactics. That's just a form of keep-ups. Also, just before I left, there was an under-16 football competition in Dominica. That was called, I think, Patrick John Trophy or something like that. That was the high schools, SMA Grammar School, and Goodwill had a team. I don't even think I was in high school then, but I was on the Goodwill team. I was on the bench, but I got a little time. But we were the first winners of the under-16 football competition. That was played in the technical wing.
That's in what year?
Oh, that must have been about 74, around there. 74, 73, 74, 75. Yeah, in that time around there.
Yeah.
And my football career kind of took off in Canada. I never really got a chance And I always regret that. I never really got a chance to play basketball or football in my prime in Dominica. When I came back to Dominica in 1994 to coach, I ended up playing on the national soccer football team. I ended up playing basketball for Clouds in Goodwill. I must have been in my 30s by then. So I'm a little bit past my prime of my time. So that's one of my regrets. One of my pleasures is playing for the national team. One of my pleasures is being able to coach the youth national teams and have a great experience and build a good relationship with my players. I'm proud to say from the under 17 team that I coach, I have about 6 players that are probably national coaches right now.
Name some of them.
Stanton is one, Wayne George is another, Colin Bernard is another, Walsh, Lenny Walsh is another one, Sakai is another one, yeah. So, and that's just those I remember at the top of my head. So I feel like I've had a great influence in the football in Dominica. Also, I have another claim to fame in Dominica. When I came in Dominica in 1994, when I grew up in Canada, I kind of played football, soccer with most of my people that I played with were Jamaicans. And one thing that I learned at a very early age in Dominica was Canada was how to salad. When I came in Dominica in 1994, I introduced that on the Goodwill Savannah. The word salad and teaching them to put the ball through their legs with finesse and get it on the other side. I have a lot of victims I used to put on their butt from 94 to 97. When I came back, I think it was 98, 99, I was in Portsmouth. I saw a little kid with a ball. And I said, yo, pass the ball to me. And he told me, yo, sir, if you want the ball, come for a salad. So I freaked out and I asked him, where'd you hear that? Where'd you learn that? You know, so I'm glad to have that to my arcade and let that be known, Mr. Wang. It was invented in Goodwill.
Tell us about your stint in the national team. Like, give us how you ended up on it, and give us that story. We talked about that before, and I would like the people to know about it.
That's a long story. Well, when I came down in '94, I came to coach because I had my C license, which was a level 3 in Canada at the time, and I wanted to be part of the coaching staff. I think they had Joff and Bala, I think, were the coaches at the time. But we had a technical director from Trinidad via Brazil called Marcos Falopa. And we used to practice at the Bath Estate. And I used to help to be an extra player. And when he saw me play, he told the coaches, forget about coaching, put me on the national team. So that's how, to a lot of dismiss, because I did not play in the league that year. It's only the following year we made up Goodwill Drafters, and I made it from playing in the league. But I was just put on, I guess, from the recommendation of the technical director for CONCACAF, I think it was Marcos Falopa.
So who were some of the guys that you played with on the national team?
Wow. Salka Emmanuel, Shane Marshall, Anthony Fredericks, Kurt Wright, his brother Earl White, Mike George, Jeffrey Edmonds, Doran Francis, George Dangler, a lot of keepers.
Yes.
Steve Norris, my good keeper friend from St. Joseph. What's his name again? Gibbs, yes.
Quite a bit, yes.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Take us through like your experience on that team from when you make it the first time. Give me the story. Give me let the people in the blue. I would like them to know that story. The first time you came in, you get to play and all that.
Yeah, that's that's a little personal. But one thing that I found was the level of ball back then was, I don't know how to put it. You had a lot of talent, but not too much direction. So this might not come out good, but I used to sit a lot on the side and watch because I was not one of the favorites, you know, to be on the starting 11. Mind you, I played for Canada under 17 national team in a world tournament in Wales. I represent Canada in England. I represent Canada in Scotland under 17. And when I came down, I respected the process, but a lot of times it was tough for me to sit and watch the type of football that we were playing for me not to have an influence. A lot of sucking of the tongue and biting of the tongue. I don't think Canada was recognized then as a soccer country. It's funny now because now that a lot of people are migrating to Canada and they're coming back, they say the same thing that I used to say 20 years ago or even longer than that, you know, from my side to come back to play. So I see the improvement. It's slow, but I definitely see the improvement in our soccer. I see the participation it's picking up.
Okay, so tell us like the tournaments you all participated in, like, you know, give us the Antigua tournament, give us the game you play in.
Oh.
You know, you get to play.
I can't even remember 100%. I think we played in the Popham tournament. That was I can't remember what year that was, but it was in St. Lucia, and I think we were playing against Guadeloupe, if I'm stand corrected, and Badwell. That ended up in a bad tackle. Yeah, and ended up breaking his leg, and I think I got some playing time off of that. That wasn't too much fun because me and him were pretty close in that trip. Played again for another tournament. I can't remember where it was. Yeah. No, the Antigua was the World Cup. Yeah, so it was a great pleasure, and I still use that because being on the '94 World Cup team in Dominica, they put you on FIFA.
Yeah,
the game.
Yes.
So a lot of times when I go to Canada, I tell those guys if they're going to play FIFA, play Dominica, use number 10. You know, so that's a nice recognition.
All right. So give us a little experience of, you know, that tournament there, that Antigua, that World Cup tournament there.
Well, it was a nice experience. Mind you, we were in the Windsor Park. They had we were playing the first game to start the World Cup in the world. We had the very first game. And the Windsor Park was not in the best condition. You had a couple of cows grazing in the back and stuff like that. And you had people from the French football magazines coming down and taking pictures and freaking out a little bit on the conditions that we were playing in. But the game was a nice game. I think it was 3-3. Yes, I played on a very full stomach in that game. I think I came on like about 15 minutes into the game from Mr. Jugget.
Okay. Yeah. And then when I went to Antigua, you said that game was a wonderful game.
Yes. Yeah. When the team went to Antigua, it was a different squad, and they were a lot more prepared. The captain had a big influence, Salka, on his team. That's one thing that I noticed, that his teammates really rallied around him and looked to him for the leadership. So when he played that game, I don't think he played the first game. When he played the second game, you could really see the difference in the way the team, you know, took to the field and just the effort on the field.
We won that game.
Yeah, we won that game. I think it was 3-1 or 3-0 or something like that. Yeah. It was a very good game.
Okay, and tell us about like when you came from Canada with the team, the United team. You played for the United team, and you all came down to Dominica. Give us a little about that.
Yeah, that was in 1988. That was a little more back in my prime.
All right.
But we played, I think we played Kensborough, and we played the national team. I think we put some blues on the national team. But then again, we had some really good players, and we were in the prime overtime. That was that game, I think, probably had a couple thousand people in the stadium.
That's for sure.
Because it was during the
Brilliant.
10th, yeah,
Brilliant.
the 10th anniversary, and there are a lot of people. It was well advertised.
Okay. You sure you beat the national team because I heard differently?
No, we beat the national team with Salka was on it. I can't remember. It was younger guys. Imagine we were playing with a lot of vets, like
Okay,
guys
like
that
who?
were retired. No, I was still active playing at the time, but we had guys like Scobie, Cole. I'm not sure if Dashing played, but we had some elderly players.
All right. Give us a little of the basketball exploits now. Tell us a little bit of basketball in Dominica with Clouds and
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Well, when I came back in, I've been coming to Dominica for a long time, and one of the things that I've always really wanted to do, and my passion, was always to give back to Dominica. I left Dominica at 13, and I was just in the stage of grasping stuff in Dominica. But one thing that I knew, that I was not the only one from Dominica, and you had a lot of other athletes like me and probably even better than me. And I noticed that the way that what the special qualities that we have in our lifestyle, the way we eat, the way we live, the way we, like where we live, like it adds a lot to our physical development. And I always wanted to come back and share my experience with the players or the athletes in the sport, and let them know that they can make it out there, you know, because we have all the qualities. So when I came, I opened a little basketball camp. You could say every Saturday. I used to run a little clinic on the Goodwill Savannah, on the hard court. That was nice. I started off with about 5 players. I ended up with about 25, and then I had to go back. So that kind of ended that. So, but right now I'm here with the DABA, looking to do a lot more, because my passion has not changed, and I still have a serious drive for the development of sports in Dominica, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing, because it has to start somewhere, and hopefully it will flow to other people that will start to come up with something different, to not just for the past history of sports, but what we're going to do for the future for sports, and the future of the kids, you know, like come together. And because I see a lot of ex-nationals and a lot of players and people that are now businessmen that are in positions to give back a little. So right now it's our turn. We're at the age where it's our time to put that input. And I'm really happy to be in Dominica, and I really hope I can contribute to the development of sports like you guys are doing right now. And I appreciate the time and your effort, and the fact that Wang didn't bring any water for me today. And I'm coming from Canada.
We are hoping to get water from Gerard George. We'll be approaching him soon.
Anyway, just before you leave, just a little word of advice to the young athletes, you know, basketballers, footballers, in terms of, you know, developing themselves.
Well, I can talk all day, but I had certain coaches growing up in Canada that said certain things to me that stuck. So the society that we live now in, peer pressure is a lot. My coach used to tell me, Terry, it's easy like ABC. Avoid bad company. Simple.
Yes,
And next one is that I had another coach, and he used to tell me, there's 2 things you can never fool. You cannot fool yourself, and you cannot fool the sport that you're playing, because it will expose you. So spend more time with the ball, spend more time training, take it seriously. Dominica is just a little dot. There's a big world out there for sports. Hopefully everything gets back to normal, and there's lots of possibilities. And it's not just possibility to be a professional athlete, it's possibilities of being a professional, getting an education, meeting people, going places, discovering things. So, and just to add real quick, a little issue that I see in Dominica a lot is that the parents tend to think that education and sports don't go together. They go hand in hand. They both enhance each other. And if you don't do both of them, your child will be lacking something. Okay, if you do sports alone, they'll be lacking education. If you do education alone, they're gonna be lacking that. All right. Thank you, Mr. Wayne.
Yes, guys, and don't forget, please check our Facebook page, The Sports Vibes. Respect.